Now, no major election or referendum is complete these days without a battle bus. And today, the Vote Leave campaign are unveiling theirs. Key figures will be on board as it makes its way across the UK ahead of the vote on Britain's EU membership next month.
One of those is, of course, Boris Johnson. He'll be on the bus's first journey and joins us now at the starting point of Truro in Cornwall. Good morning to you, Boris.
Good morning. How are you? Yes, good morning. Yes, we haven't got the battle bus here, but it's coming.
OK, right, we await its arrival, as I'm sure you do. Now, there is a rival bus to yours. Alan Johnson is behind the Labour In for Britain one. And I'm sure you've seen Alan Johnson is calling campaigners like yourself extremists and not rational. And they say that you've got nothing nice to say about the EU. What do you like about the EU, Boris?
Well, I do think it very odd that we're being called extremists and irrational and all this kind of thing, when only the other day we were being told that World War III was going to break out if we voted to leave. And really that cannot be sensible. Everybody knows that the peace in this continent is really guaranteed by NATO. And if it really is true that World War III and bubonic plague are about to break out, then why on earth are we having this referendum? This is a referendum about taking back control of £350 million a week, which we could spend according to our priorities here in this country. It's about taking back control of our borders, and I think it's about getting back control of British democracy. And I believe in this country. I love Europe. Of course, I've got many wonderful, happy memories of living, working, going on holiday to Europe. Most of my family come from one European country or another. Of course we love Europe, but there's a difference between Europe and the institutions of the European Union. And they are now evolving, I think, in a direction that is simply not compatible with long-term health of UK democracy. That's my view.
You mentioned your family, Mr Johnson. We had your brother, the Universities Minister, Joe, on the programme yesterday, talking about how leaving Europe would really damage science in the UK, talking about partnerships, about the flow of talent, about funding as well. We know that your dad is voting in, your other brother and your sister as well. If you're struggling to convince those who love you, how do you convince the British public?
There are no shortage of Johnsons, and I can tell you, I have yet another brother who is firmly pro-Brexit, and he's right. And just going to the points about science funding and the rest, let's be clear. Of the money that we send to Brussels, £20 billion a year, £10 billion we never see again. It goes on all sorts of things. Greek tobacco farming, Spanish bullfighting. £110 million a year of CAP money goes on Spanish bullfighting, for heaven's sake. Now, with that net money back in this country, we could actually fund things like the NHS, like our science base, like our academic health science centres, even more generously than we do at present. So that argument simply doesn't stack up. As for scientific cooperation across frontiers, of course we could continue to do that. The Erasmus programme could continue. All the things that we do or used to do at an intergovernmental level, so all the cooperation on defence, on foreign policy, on security, on sharing of intelligence, all that can be done and probably should be done intergovernmentally without putting it under the auspices of the federal supranational institutions of the European Court of Justice and the Commission.
Mr Johnson, can I ask you about the state? Can I ask you about the state of your?
Trying to bolt everything together with a supranational system that I think is going in the wrong direction.
In terms of the state of the party at the moment,
you cannot vote for the status quo in this referendum.
I understand where you come from, but I want to talk to you about the state of the Tory party this morning as well. It was always said that there wasn't going to be insults, so there wasn't going to be mud being slung all over the place. That is now happening. How can your party be held together after this vote? And to talk about you personally, if the UK votes to stay in Europe, does that then block any potential that you have to get to number 10, do you think?
No, I really think that people love, and obviously I understand why it sort of makes it more fascinating to reduce all this to personalities, but this is about fundamental issues of our constitution and whether we're able to govern ourselves and to take back control of huge amounts of money and our borders and our democracy. And just to get to the point I was trying to make, you can't vote to stay for things to stay as they are. Because what will happen as soon as the British referendum is over, and if we do make the mistake of voting to stay in, they will use the institutions of the single market, the federal supranational institutions, to drive forward with a whole new agenda designed to prop up the euro, using measures to pull fiscal policy, property rights, company law. Heaven knows what the whole agenda is set out in the 5 Presidents' report. The UK will inevitably be dragged into that, and that's on top of the £600 million a week that EU regulation is costing UK business.
OK, you've said it's about the issues. Would you welcome the opportunity to debate the issues in a TV debate?
I've said very clearly to the people running up this side of the Leave campaign that they point me in our march. I'll do whatever it takes to get these points
so that's
across.
A yes, then,
we've got lots of good debaters on our side. Gisela Stewart, Michael Gove, Nigel Lawson, John Longworth. We got huge numbers of people who are David Only. Got huge numbers of people who are very Ian Duncan Smith. Everybody's there, ready to make the points. Chris Grayling. We're all there, set to get our argument over, and Kate Hoey, we're all there.
Can I ask you one final one before we let you go? Has the bus turned up yet,
yes.
by the way?
The bus, I've seen the bus. It is colossal. I know it is. I'm of course, it's unlike the Remain side of the argument. None of us, we are not spending £9 million of taxpayers' money on this operation. I think it's absolutely infamous, by the way, that they've got the whole government, the whole of Whitehall is supporting the Remain campaign. They've got all their advisors who are being marched in the same direction. Every international visitor is made to spout the Remain campaign lines, and they're spending £9 million of taxpayers' money on shoving a leaflet through everybody's door. I think it's absolutely infamous, and never mind. We happy few with the small amounts of money that we have at our disposal will get our points across, and I think we've got a once-in-a-lifetime chance to change the direction of this country and of democracy in Europe.
Mr Johnson, very quickly before we let you go, we're talking today about microphone faux pas. No politicians make mistakes. Should David Cameron apologise for what he said about Nigeria and Afghanistan, do you think?
I just saw that on the news. I think the Prime Minister, as far as I understand it, was speaking very candidly about the problems of global corruption, and I think most people will find it refreshing that he's speaking his mind, and the more people speak their mind, the better, in my view.
Mr Johnson, thank you for talking to us this morning. Enjoy the bus.
Thank you. Thank you.